afternoon. I'm Councilwoman Kelly Herndon. Welcome to Council Corner. We will be talking with Joseph Cotton, the Director of Public Works today. What will we be discussing?
This afternoon, we will be discussing the current status of the State Highway 5 and Rosamond intersection.
Can you give us an update on where that is?
It was a few months ago that TxDOT was finishing up the design of that intersection based upon data that they had collected a few years ago regarding traffic volumes. As they were finishing that design, they went out and reevaluated their assumptions that were made for that design, and they have identified that there's quite a bit more traffic at that intersection than was originally anticipated.
So what I'm hearing is we need a light sooner rather than later.
So yes, traffic would tell you that the light is definitely warranted. The issue is that it is also very close to the DART rail tracks, and based upon the current anticipated backups and traffic that are going to be at that location, they actually need to put in control arms as well at the railroad crossing, which were not originally accounted for in their original design. So with that being said, we are now about a year away from being able to begin construction, at least on that intersection and that light.
Well, that answered my next question, because I was going to ask what the timeline was for that. So we're at least a year out?
We're at least a year out at this point. It has to do with the fact that they're having to go back and redesign and design those mast arms, and then they will have to get them approved through DART to actually get them installed at the same time as that traffic signal.
Is there anything we can do to speed up that timeline?
It's really one of those things that as a city, we're good partners with TxDOT and DART, but they just have a process that they have to go through, and their permitting process takes a little bit of time, and it's usually about a year to get through that process because there is a number of checks and balances that have to be done, both at the TxDOT level and at the DART level before that permit can be provided.
And all of that is safety oriented, correct?
It is extremely safety oriented. We do not want to have an incident where the light is red and someone is unable to go forward or backwards and is on the railroad tracks when a train was coming through. So that would be the worst case scenario. And this will coordinate the use of those arms at the same time as the traffic signal operation.
Is there anything in the meantime that the city can do to help alleviate the traffic there? Because I know when school lets out, it's really difficult for people to get through that intersection.
So we are looking at some options. There are some developments that are happening at the northwest corner of that intersection that will be adding some additional pavement at that Rosamond area. We are looking at obtaining some right-of-way on the eastern side to help alleviate sort of how that connection happens. So we are looking at different options that are also going to be accounted for in this new or the updated design with TxDOT.
Okay, great. So a little patience will go a long way here.
Yes, definitely. We have heard you. We understand that mobility is an issue, but we are moving as quickly as possible and making it to get the best product and the best signal that we can when it does come into existence.
Now, how will this affect when they come in and widen Highway 5? Because I know that timeline is 2028, 2030. How will this affect that expansion?
So they are accounting for the location of the poles that will support the traffic signal. The traffic signal itself will not be a mast arm type system like you would see at White Street right now and Highway 5. It is going to be initially run with cables, and they will be supported between poles that will be in the corners. They are going to be low.
With it.
Well, they are going to be located and have a long enough span that they won't have to be moved when they come in and do that. Now, as that area develops out, I would anticipate that they would become true mast arms at some point, but at least this initial design will have a more span wire type design versus the mast arms.
Good, because nobody likes to do the job twice.
Exactly.
It costs money to do that job twice. Okay, is there anything else that we can say to the community about this intersection?
What I would ask is some grace and patience with your fellow travelers. This is a major intersection around the schools, around the administration buildings. The city is aware of the issue. As we go through this process, we will just have more traffic as the city develops. But time is not on our side per se, in that we need to get this done as quickly as possible. But we also need to make sure that we create the safest intersection that we can when this does get completed.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me on Council Corner today. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Herndon. I appreciate the conversation.